What's up guys, and welcome to today's video. This is probably one of the most important videos I've ever made regarding supplements. So if you have any regard for your own personal health, longevity and performance, then I would highly recommend that you watch this all the way up to the very end. Now, a couple months ago I made a video talking about how I did a blood test. Did a blood test with a company called Bioniq. It's the second blood test I've ever had. I had a previous blood test back in May. So today we're going to go through the results of that blood test, and I'm also going to be interviewing one of the co-founders of the company, Bioniq, to ask him some questions which I have, and some questions which you will no doubt have in your mind as well. There he is. Yes. Here he is, Vadim. The main reason I'm taking Bioniq is because I actually want to try and grow a little bit taller. He's been taking it for 30 years.
I mean, I was your height when I started. You know?
For somebody who has never taken a blood test before, is there any way that they can know what supplements they should be taking?
Statistically, they know what most likely they would need. So I can statistically tell you that you most likely will need vitamin D. But I will not be able to tell you how much, because I take probably twice as much as you do, and you take probably twice as much as anybody else does. Yeah. So like, I can tell you need iron levels. If you're a woman, there's 82% chance you have iron deficiencies. If you're male, there's a 70% chance you need omega-3. But we don't know how much you need, what kind of dosage you need. And we don't know if you actually need it or if your diet is covering that. So whoever takes vitamins blindly, I always tell them be on the cautious side, and most importantly, don't overdo it in terms of term. Like there's a reason why people say don't take vitamins blind for more than 3 months, because your body's getting used to everything. The toxicity level is building up, your body is just done with it, and will have a hard time digesting it. So you most likely will know what to do, but there is no proof in it. So the answer is no. If you think for a second rationale, when you go to a vitamin store, and then you take something and it says take 2 pills. Well, if you take 2 pills and I take 2 pills and a girl takes 2 pills and an elderly woman takes 2 pills, don't you think that we all have different requirements? Different depending on the age, on the activity level, on the gender, on the weight. I mean, just think that that's the thing that I'm just like mind-boggling, how people can just take something and they think, oh, one size fits all. Well, nothing fits all. Yeah. So this is the reason why personalization is so important.
Now, if we open up the Bioniq app, we can see what my latest blood test shows. And at the top, it'll summarize what actually needs attention. So as you can see, vitamin B12 is below optimal. Vitamin E is above optimal. HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol, is below optimal. Serum magnesium below optimal. Zinc below optimal. Vitamin B9 below optimal. Copper is low. And the remaining parameters are all optimal. Okay, so they're all in range. So with the results on the app, I think it shows 40 different parameters.
Yes, up to 50. Up to 50, yeah. Depending on the market in which you do it.
Okay, so why do you specifically choose those 40, 50?
It's a very interesting part. So my co-founder is a medical director. He's been in clinical trials for over 20 years. He did trials with 250 parameters, 300 parameters. And he over time realized that there's an intersection between parameters. He doesn't need all of them to realize what goes on to your body. So our job is to over time reduce the amount of necessary parameters to still give the full overall picture of what's going on. In your case, half of those parameters are based everything around your nutrition. The other half is about preventiveness. So one part is we understand what your body takes in. The other one is like, do you have inclination to type 2 diabetes? Will you have problems with, with cholesterol levels, your liver functions? Will you have problems in terms of your overall health? Are there potential issues with diseases? Do you have any problems with digestion? So there's 2 parts to this. One part is your everyday intake, and one part is your longevity, as we discussed. And the second part is how can we prevent any issues to be more serious and stop them and reverse them at an earlier stage.
Because you have so many different micronutrients in one capsule, how do you ensure that they don't interfere with each other? Because I know if you're taking too much of one thing, it may interrupt the absorption of another.
Exactly. So this is the one thing that people, I mean, you and I probably, we all had those kitchen counters with 25, 30 different bottles. And by now, I'm very happy about that. People know that you can't take them at the same time because they block each other. A lot of vitamins block each other. They have a blocking effect. The uniqueness about this, which is a patent Swiss technology, is because it's in granules, it's a slow absorption over 12 hours. So none of them is being toxic in the moment cause blockages of the other ingredients. So it's because it's so low dosage over 12 hours time, it doesn't cause any block. So you can take everything at the same time. With there is no inner complications between them. So this is the uniqueness. Instead of every 2 hours taking 4 pills to make sure they don't block each other, you just take it in the morning and that's it.
Okay.
That's the whole idea. That's the uniqueness of the technology. It's a slow absorption technology, allowing you to take all the ingredients at the same time without causing blockages.
Do you take it once per day or twice per day?
So the ideal case is you take it twice per day, in the morning with food and evening with food. A lot of people forget to take it at night. So we tell them, hey, if you do forget it at night regularly, take a double dosage in the morning. It's not as good, but it's better than if you just skip the one at night. So we recommend twice, but most of us just take it in the morning, double dosages.
So if I have this,
Yes.
it's pretty much got me covered, I would say. Is there anything else that I would need to supplement on top of this? Because I know there is no omega-3s
Exactly.
because
That's the only,
of the
it's liquid. Because omega-3 has to be liquid. The granules are not liquid. You can't make omega not liquid. The only thing that we recommend to people, but it's also not to all people. Only 72% of people need the omega.
Okay.
So it's not one of those things where you take this and blindly take omega. We don't do things blindly anymore.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea with Bioniq, right? So the only thing that is not in here is the omega. If you need it, you can also, Bioniq offers omega additionally for people who need it. Anything else is covered by that.
Once upon a time, this was a few years ago, I didn't do a blood test, but I did a DNA test. Yeah. It was with a company called LiveCode GX. Now, I remember they took a swab sample and they did the analysis and they gave me my results.
Sure.
I was very skeptical, so I was like, well, surely this can't give me a full in-depth analysis of what my body actually needs. Yeah. What is your opinion on the DNA test?
So, DNA is something that is static, it doesn't change. Mm-hmm. So the reason why we do blood, because blood will show you a trend. So your blood is changing, so we can adjust to what your body needs right now. When is DNA becoming important? If you have chronic diseases, then DNA becomes important. So for example, my case, personal case, my bilirubin showcases you the way your liver functions. After 6 months on Bioniq, it didn't change. So supplementation didn't adjust to it. What then the DNA test showed that I have a chronic disease called Gilbert defect, which is quite common, it sounds worse than it is, where your liver just doesn't function to 100%. So the way when we use DNA is, if we see that on a blood level, there are certain things that don't change over time, we find out on a DNA level if it's chronic. So this is the reason why DNA testing as something to monitor your health is not ideal, because it doesn't change. Mm-hmm. So you start taking VD, DNA will not tell you if your VD has gotten better or worse. It will stay the same. But the DNA test will showcase to you if there's something that you need to be aware of going forward, if you can continue doing something.
If Bioniq Life is available in your country,
yeah,
but somebody would say, oh, do you know what, it's pretty expensive. Like, do I really need this in my life? What would you say to those people, just to try and...
There's a couple of things. There's one of them is comparison. If you would go to any clinic as of today, let's say you go to the UK, and the UK, this product costs £250. And you tell the clinic in the UK, I would like to do a 44 parameter blood test. Mm-hmm. They will charge you £800 just for the blood test, without a consultation, without the nurse coming to your home, without anything. So just the aspect, same thing in UAE. The blood test here costs 4 times more than our subscription costs. Mm-hmm. So the value for money in terms of just information about yourself is much more important. That's number one. That's just the value for money. The second part is, the most expensive thing is to treat serious illnesses. That's where it really is expensive. Mm-hmm. It's much more affordable to invest into preventiveness, to see it in an early stage and adjust to something, than when you're in a stage when you actually need radical treatment, including surgeries. So you should consider this as an investment into staying away from the really big costs going forward. And thirdly, is it better to spend, let's say, a little bit more money on something that you truly need, then spend all of those 25 different bottles that half of them you don't need, half of them are dangerous for you, but most of them block each other.
Yeah.
So this is the whole thing, is when you compare, do you want the cheap route that you don't need for your body, it's just a waste of money, or you want something personalized that is really proven to work? The uniqueness about Bioniq is, you as a client have the same motivation as we do, because based on the blood test, you see if it works or it doesn't work. No other company can claim that. Because other companies just sell you something and say, hey, we're pretty sure it works, hopefully.
Yeah.
We're like, no, here, this is what you need. 2 months later, this is how it worked for you. This is what was being absorbed. This is what we need to adjust to you. This is how your lifestyle changed. So this is where we become part of your journey by showing you the data, how things are improving inside of your body.
So there we have it, guys, a Q&A with the man himself. I hope that has answered a couple of questions which you may have had. It's definitely answered a couple of questions which I had. And it's even just broadened my overall understanding on micronutrients and supplementation. If you do want to get involved with Bioniq, which I highly recommend you do, then the description will tell you where to go in terms of links to your appropriate country. If it's not available in your country, sit tight, because it's only a matter of time until it will be available in your country. Then again, if you really want to know and you're in a rush, then I recommend you get a blood test done, and that way you can at least have some form of understanding and guidance when it comes to taking the appropriate supplements. So thanks again. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have done, and I will see you in the next one.